What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and today I'm going to show you what Trump's path to victory would look like. I think it's pretty obvious what Biden's path to victory would look like because he's up in the polls right now. All he needs to do is like win a couple of states in the Rust Belt back. If he wins Florida, he automatically wins, just kind of based on where the tipping point states are right now. But Trump, I think, has a smaller path to victory maybe in 2020 than he did in 2016. People counted him out in 2016, so it might be the same thing again. When we look at Nate Silver's 538 model, Trump is right where he was in 2016 in terms of percent chance to win. We can see right now that look, okay, Biden is favored to win the election, but Trump wins 27 out of 100 times, which I think on election day 2016 he was right at 28 or 29, so pretty comparable. And I think one thing that's pretty interesting to look at is like, well, look, Biden is projected to win on the betting odds. If we see just in the past month, um, Trump's odds have improved and Biden's odds have dropped. Still, Biden is in the lead, but we have a like 24-point difference at the most, and right now we're only at a 12-point difference. So if this trend continues, I think that Trump could be a lot more competitive. And let me kind of show you in these states where I think it could happen. And we just had some recent polls coming out of the state of like Minnesota suggesting it is a lot more competitive than we think. Before I get too far into the video, I just want to encourage y'all to please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching this right now, I'm going to take just 3 seconds to pause just so you can subscribe. Hit the red button right here. Thanks, guys. All right. Anyway, so let's just diving right in. So all the states in red are the states that I think that Donald Trump will win in 2020 if the election were held today. And all the states in blue are obviously states that I think Joe Biden would win. The states that I left blank are states right now that I think are leaning towards Joe Biden, that if the election were held today, that he would win, albeit narrowly, like states like Arizona or Florida. However, I think that these 7 states are winnable for Donald Trump if things go in his favor. And I don't want y'all to think like, oh, I'm just not using data or anything. But I think if things go right for Donald Trump and wrong for Joe Biden, I think we could very easily see him win these 5 states that he won in 2016. He's done it before. I think he can do it again. And then also maybe pick up 2 of the states. These were the 2 closest states that Donald Trump could win. He could pick them up. So just looking back at the 2018 midterms, we saw that the Republicans won statewide on the Senate and the governor's level in Florida. So I think that Florida will be very winnable for Donald Trump if things go in his favor. So I'm just going to fill that in as a tilt Republican state right now. And if you saw before, like right now, it's at like 219 to 219, so very, very close. If Trump can get to the state where like all of these states are very, very competitive, like just completely toss up states, then I would say that each candidate has about a 50-50 shot to win. So there you go. And right now, I actually tend to agree with Nate Silver's model where the election is right now. But I do think that these trends will continue, and I think we will see Trump's odds rise in the betting markets and in the 538 model. I don't know if Trump will ever get to 50% in the model, but I think it's very likely that Trump gets above 50% in the betting odds. So just looking right here, I think kind of the easiest state out of these 7s would probably be Arizona or Florida. But just based on the historical returns in a state like Florida, it's always super, super competitive on the presidential level. And I think that Trump has taken a hit in the polls, especially in Florida. If we look at the polls right now, Hillary Clinton was never really as up in the polls as Joe Biden is right now. But I definitely think there is room for movement. And we saw that the polls were pretty off in the 2018 midterms. Democrats were up by like 3 to 4 points statewide, and the Republicans narrowly won, Rick Scott and Ron DeSantis. If we look at Arizona at the historical results, we'd be like, oh, Arizona's a very historically Republican state. I think we've seen data that shows that Arizona is trending leftward. However, I think Donald Trump could be able to hold on to Arizona, albeit narrowly. So there's that. And also, I didn't fill it in right now, but for the sake of this, I think Donald Trump could win the state's second district again. And I think the second district in Nebraska, Trump could win too. So we're seeing right now, Trump would be at 260 electoral votes. And I don't want to say that this is easy. I think winning states like Florida, Arizona, potentially even North Carolina could be very hard for Trump, and he's like putting a lot of money into these states right now because he wants to shore them up. So, but by no means is it easy for Trump to get 260, but it's definitely possible. He did it in 2016. So let's look at Trump's easiest path to 270 right now. I mean, and I'm about to run out of battery, so I want to make this video pretty quick. If we look at some recent polls, we've seen that Minnesota is tied. And this isn't the only poll that has shown this. I think we saw a poll earlier. Um, let's see. So we see that Minnesota is tied here, and we see that Trump is only down by 2 in a poll, which is actually a lot closer than any of the Rust Belt states have been, which is very, very interesting. Like, I mean, even states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania that Trump won in 2016 have not shown as close polls. Looking at the polls, I think that Pennsylvania is the closest out of them. I think there's a poll that had Joe Biden up by 4, but none of these polls have showed that these states are tied since kind of the coronavirus hit in March. I think before that there were some polls that had Trump up by 1 or 2, but I mean, really since June, I would say pretty much we haven't seen that any of these states are competitive. So this is a very weird looking map, but if Minnesota is a lot more competitive in these other states, then this could be his path to 270. It's pretty interesting. Minnesota does have one of the highest white populations out of the Rust Belt, which is, and if you look at the demographics, I hate kind of breaking it up by race because I think that no racial group is a monolith in terms of politics, but if you study race and politics, it does matter. So I think Minnesota at this point is a lot more winnable than a state like Michigan, because Michigan does have a lot more like urban areas. Minnesota does have more rural areas. And I think Trump won in 2016, but like every factor had to go right in the state of Michigan. So I definitely think Michigan will be to the left of some of these other states. So I actually think Trump has a better chance in like Minnesota than Michigan, which is pretty interesting. But you see, Trump could win Minnesota and get to 270. So if he wins Arizona and Florida, all he needs is one of these Rust Belt states. And right now, I think Biden has his lead is most clear in these Rust Belt states. So right now, like if we look at the individual predictions on like if he wins any of these states, it's pretty low. Um, I think because my battery is at a low percent, it's going a little slower. So that is my fault. But we even see with like Pennsylvania that has the most electoral votes, Trump's like best chance at winning the Rust Belt, it's 26%. And I think it gets even lower, and it's the lowest in the state of Michigan, like I said before. So I think it'll be really interesting looking at the Rust Belt. I think right now, in terms of what will be the easiest for Trump to win, I'd say Wisconsin would be number 1, and then probably Pennsylvania. I really go back and forth because the polls don't show that any of these states are kind of outliers, except for Michigan, which I think is the leftward, and Minnesota could be an outlier to the right. I want to pull Minnesota more, but I think both campaigns will start dumping money into the state, and who knows, the George Floyd protests, some of the riots could have affected things that are just unique to the state of Minnesota. So before, I think I would have said that Wisconsin or Pennsylvania would be the easiest for Trump to win. But right now, just looking at the polls, I think his easiest path to victory might be through Minnesota, which I might get a lot of heat in the comments for this video, but we will see. So that's kind of the conclusion of my video. I just kind of want to do a quick video. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And before my phone or my computer runs out of battery, I just want to conclude the video. So this is a video on Trump's path to victory, and be on the lookout for a new video tomorrow. And if my um, computer will ever work, I will be able to end this video. I'm sorry, guys. It says